Hey everyone. All right, so here we are. Guess what? Fourth consecutive green day in a row. I'm back in the saddle, if that's how you say it. Yeah, I'm back in the saddle. That's right, back on the wagon. So I always get confused about whether you're on the wagon or off the wagon and which is a good thing. But in any case, I'm back in the saddle, back on the wagon, and, feeling good here. Another green day, $3,000 of profit. That's solid. I mean, I can't complain about that at all. Right now, early April, it's rehab. For me, it's just about focusing on A-quality setups. And today, I don't think I took my first trade until maybe 9:45 or even closer to 10 a.m. I just said, I'm going to sit, I'm going to wait, I'm going to be patient. I had two small trades. A small loss, small winner, nothing to be excited about. And then a $3,000 winner. That one made it. And it wasn't swinging for the fences. It wasn't going for a home run. It was a solid base hit. Now, Fan Mail Friday. I posted this over on Instagram. Been getting some fan mail, which is pretty cool, and I wanted to share this with you guys on the channel, and also just give a public thank you to some of these guys who have sent over a couple things. So, obviously, had a rough couple of weeks of trading, and so this fan mail was really nice to get. From Jonathan, he sent me a copy of Hemingway classic Old Man and the Sea, which was really pretty cool. So some nice reading here. Thanks, Jonathan. And then from our friends up in the Yukon here, Second Chance Gold Mine. Very cool. So, if trading doesn't work out, I got a job up at the Second Chance Gold Mine in the Yukon, which is pretty awesome. So we've got that going. And then, let's see, I also got a nice letter from a student in Mississippi who's going through the classes and really appreciated the $28,000 red day recap, and another letter here from a student who sent over a couple of candles. You guys know I like, I've got this candle that I have here. This is, it's called 85 Diesel, and I've got a couple of these. Well, it's kind of hard to open the box here, but they smell good. It doesn't truly smell like diesel. Travis sent a candle that literally smells like a pint of diesel fuel sitting here in the office. So it's a little on the strong side. I've actually been told not to burn it in the building. So, but thank you. Appreciate the thought. Anyways, Fan Mail Friday, coming a little late here on Tuesday, but I really appreciate this. So those of you guys that ever feel like sending in a letter, you can email us and we'll give you our P.O. box and you can send something over to us. All right, so anyways, Green Day recap here, fourth in a row, feeling good about that. Any questions, any comments, leave them below. We'll come back through and answer them this afternoon. And I'll see you guys all first thing tomorrow morning, 9:15 for pre-market analysis. Goal, 5 green days in a row. We'll see if we can do it. All right, everyone, so we're going to go over the trades from this morning. Today is going to be my fourth consecutive green day, which is terrific. I am really happy to just be putting some space between me and some of the difficult trades that I had a couple weeks ago. So you can see here on the screen my P&L today, the 3 stocks that I traded. Today was kind of interesting because we didn't have a very good gap scanner. Now, the gap scanner, of course, we use every morning to find stocks that are up pre-market during the pre-market trading hours. So 9:25 this is what the scanner looked like this morning, 9:25. Okay, so our leading gapper in the entire U.S. market was ADMA, a bio stock, up 54% pre-market on 4.35 million shares of volume. So, this thing was moving. And my problem with it when I pulled up the chart was right away I could see that it was already starting to dip down a little bit, but I said, I'm watching this trigger at 6:45. So why was 6:45 a trigger? Well, let's pull this off of here for 1 second. We'll remove that horizontal line. And we'll go make this full screen here, or bigger at least. So pre-market, this first squeezed up here and formed what we call the nice pullback pattern. We also refer to this as my hairline. So gentle pullback, and then we look for the first candle to make the new high, which is right here. Nice move up. Now, obviously, we like to see these types of patterns happening during regular trading hours. When we see this pre-market, it doesn't mean a lot for me because the volume is so light. I'm not really going to be able to trade it. So I just, whatever. I'm not even looking at my computer at 7:25 in the morning. I'm just not. So, but I pull up these stocks around 9:15 and I see that, okay, now we've got this longer period of consolidation. What I notice is that we're above the blue 20 moving average, which is good. We're below the 9 exponential moving average, which isn't great. And we're also just below the volume weighted average price, which also isn't great. And the reality is it's at 615 and the pre-market high is about 704. So it has pulled back quite a bit versus, the high a day. Now, using these lines here, the green, the blue, the cyan, and the red, this tells us that the point of control is 667, and this is an algorithm that creates that line. So some of you guys are already in our futures room. At Warrior Trading, we have 3 primary chat rooms. We've got small caps, we've got large caps, and we have futures. So the futures traders, that room is run by Steve, and Steve is a commodities trader. He lives in Chicago, and he's been trading for a really long time. And one of the things that he developed was this suite of indicators that help identify support and resistance levels, and they're featured on the Bloomberg terminal. And so they're used by a lot of institutional traders all around the world. And he created this site, TazWarriors.com, where you guys can get these indicators if you want. There's a video of Steve. And anyway, so I have these turned on my eSignal charts. They're not compatible with every platform, but they do work with eSignal. So this is showing the point of control as 667, meaning when the stock is above it, it's bullish. When it's below it, it's bearish. And the top of the resistance is, of course, at high a day there at 704. And the bottom is right about the low of this level here. That's the support level of 592. I got 645 by looking at the high of this candle right here and this candle right here. So I realized that we double tapped at 645. We tapped it once, we tapped it a second time, and if we broke it a third time, I believe that there would be a good chance that we would break over the $0.50 and that we would continue moving higher, maybe back up towards 67, and above that level back up towards 7. So that was my long bias on this stock. The bell rings and it immediately sells off. And I'm like, all right, well, no trades yet, just watching it. It continues to go lower, and that's pretty much it. Now at this point right now, this is a bear flag. The stock has rolled over, it's consolidating at the lows, and below 560 would be a potential short. And there you go, there's the potential short, which would have given an opportunity for a move back down to 512. So about a 50-cent short there on that bear flag. And then a short-term reversal here back up towards 560. So, not for me something that I was really interested in trading. In hindsight, maybe I could have done something there, but I left it alone. So that was ADMA, our leading gapper. Second leading gapper was SGMO. This one was up 46% pre-market, but the price was a little higher at $13, so I left that one alone. No trades on that one. Third one down was Riot, up because Bitcoin was up overnight, but we don't get into that. I really am not interested in it. It did end up doing kind of a crazy move here on the 1-minute chart, where it looked like it was going higher, and I was like, nope, I don't trust it. I'm not touching it. And look at this, out of nowhere, it goes from 515 all the way back here down to 435. So really glad that I left that one alone and just, didn't mess with it. Also on the gap scanner, Mara, that one's too cheap. EDAP, the float's a little higher. OVID, I ended up taking a trade on this, which was what we would call a 5-minute opening range breakout. Pre-market was not a pretty pattern, I'll admit. However, it was on pretty light volume, and so I just figured, let's see what this does. I took my trade right here. I jumped in, it hit 220, and then came back down, and I got out for you can see a loss right here, a small loss, whatever. So that one just did not work. We look at the 5-minute chart and you can see it was an opening range breakout. Really, again, not picture perfect. So was pretty quick with, if it doesn't work, I'm getting right back out, got right back out. All right, so, and then we had TAIT on the watch list as a possibility, but it didn't really end up giving me anything to work with. SFET, this one gave also an opening range breakout here, as you can see, from 310 up to a high of 334, but like Riot, ended up doing a pretty big rejection. Now, I was able to make a little on it, but really nothing that great, and I don't like seeing drops like that. So at that point, these two trades basically cancel each other out, and I was just sort of sitting tight, and that's when CTRM hit the high of day momentum scanner right here at 593. As soon as I saw that hit, I was like, okay, it's a former runner. I'm very familiar with it. It made this big move, last week. I know that the float is only 810,000 shares, very low. It's already up 12%. And I pulled up, so initially, without even looking at the chart, I'm like, okay, let's see what this is doing. This is something I should look at pretty quickly. I pull up the chart and I recognize that it right now is having the first daily candle to make a new high. And this is, look at the chart on this one. It's crazy. It's like up and then down and then back up and then down and then here today back up. I mean, this thing is all over the place, very volatile. And the daily level that I was looking at, let me just remove some of these trend lines here. Okay, so we'll remove that one and that one, that one, and that one. All right, so we'll just go clear here. So I was looking at the first daily candle to make a new high. This is a swing trade setup. It's one that we talk about in the classes. First daily candle to make a new high after a big move. Granted, this did retrace basically 100% of the move. However, it's still a valid setup. So entry point is at 580. Well, by the time it was on the scanner, it was already at 593. However, I felt very confident first daily candle would give us a move at least to 678, the first resistance point. That was my first target. And so I jumped in at $6, right at 6. Then, or actually 603. And then we had the next level, which was 861. So, we go back and look at this here on the 1 minute. It starts, by popping up here right in this level, pulling back, and then continuing higher. And so this is where I'm in it right here, and it gets halted at 641. Of course, traders seeing it now hitting the scanners, and they're like, okay, yep, this is a stock, that's worth keeping a really close eye on, former runner status, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so let's see. So there was the high. It resumes from the halt, and this was the moment of truth. It hit a high of 73 and then dropped all the way back down to 23. So a 50-cent drop there. And I was like, oh, man, is this going to be another one of those ones that just gets, rejected right away? I'm not sure. The setup is okay. There isn't news, but, it has everything else. Of course, today, what's the context of the market that we're in? ADMA, really weak. Riot, weak. OVID, weak. SFET didn't hold up. So, I don't know. Is it going to work? I'm not sure. I'll give it the opportunity for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high, and boom, there you get that move. But then, again, it goes up to a high of 698, and then it drops here all the way back down to $6. And so on this trade, I sold right in here on the first candle to make a new high, and then I added back at 91 for the break over $7. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get back in at 91. I think it's going to break over $7. So, I get back in at 91. And that ended up being a mistake because it promptly dropped right back down to $6. So I stopped out pretty quickly, which was, good, I guess. But, the problem there was I went from being up about 3,000 or so to being up only about 1,200. Then it goes sideways, sideways, sideways. And right there, look at that, it breaks again and goes back up to 7 and hits a high of 710, and I got back in right here at 70. So I got back in, and then there's that quick move up to 710, the pullback, little consolidation, and then boom, another sweet move here up to a high of 73. My biggest problem on this was these whips. You know, the whip down there, the whip down here, you know, a little bit of a dip down here, false breakout here up to 710, and then back down to 669. So it was really bouncing around quite a bit, and that made it kind of hard for me. I tried to be as aggressive on it as I could, but you know, I sort of just kept getting in and then stopping out, and then, you know, getting in and stopping out, and that just didn't work. I mean, I'll show you some of the trades here. So let's see, where was this? So let's look at, so this one at 58, what was the time here? Okay, so that was back here, you know, trying to scalp this little area here. You know, I added at 96, right there. I added like literally right under high a day. It wasn't 91, it was 96. I was going for the break over 7, and then stopped out right at 650, instant 46-cent loss, pretty much. I mean, within 30 seconds. So, you know, it popped up to a high of, I guess the high was 698, and then it dropped all the way down, and I was like, gotta get out. So took a loss right here. And then I got back in as it curls back up. I got back in at 74, and added at 86. And then we had a big seller right at $7. So I sold half at 97 and 99. You know, so that was okay. Got back in at 98, 99. Tried to sell at 7, wasn't really getting filled. Had to try to sell, cancel orders, tried to sell, cancel orders. You know, finally got out. Got back in at 84. That was a nice one. So back in at 84. Or sorry, no, I sold at 84. Back in at 31. That was at 15. So that was right here. You know, this was high, but was able to kind of scalp this move here. It hit a high of 73. You know, so it's like kind of a lot of trades, getting in, getting out. And that's pretty much what the momentum strategy is all about. It's scalping these breakouts, taking a little profit, getting back in, taking some profit, getting back in. And, you know, this one ended up being okay, but here is one issue. Look at the 5-minute chart on it. Look at this volume pattern. High day volume each time was on a red candle. So right here on this candle, this one, and this one. And that made it really difficult. And by this point, I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. This is frustrating. It feels like I'm swimming against the current. It's not really opening up. It keeps popping up and then dropping back down, popping up and dropping back down. And so at that point I was like, I'm done. I'm going to just, you know, take the green and walk away. And you know what? 4th consecutive green day is fantastic. And that's something that I can feel really good about. So obviously at this point, you know, where's my calendar? Let's see. Here it is. I wasn't even totally sure if I wanted to be actively updating my calendar this month. I don't want to get myself too fixated on, you know, daily gains or, you know, I just kind of want to just trade good quality setups. Trade for the sake of trading and not be too focused on my P&L. So, you know, I didn't even write yesterday. I'm not going to write today. I'm just going to put the calendar away this month and, you know, just try to have a good month, not really think about where I'm at on the month or where I'm at on the week. Just green days. Just try to have a green day. Each day, if I can be green, you know, by the end of the month, inevitably, it'll end up being a great month. And it doesn't really matter, you know, how green it is. Now, today at 3 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to host Warrior Pro mentor session for our students. And I'm going to talk a lot about bouncing back from a big loss, which is very topical, considering that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So we'll have a good mentor session at 3 p.m., and I'm sure it'll be relevant for some of you guys who have also been, you know, are either going through this now or have gone through it. You know, I'm learning some really interesting stuff about, I say, myself going through this kind of struggle. it's the first time I've really been up against a wall trading in a very long time. And so, it's kind of helped me reconnect, I think, with a lot of you guys who are up against a wall because you're at the very beginning of this learning curve. You're just getting started. And when you're just getting started and you have big red days, or when you're just getting started and you have very well-defined monthly goals and you're not hitting them, it can feel really stressful. And so we'll be talking about that today during the mentor session. All right, so, and everyone else, I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning, 9:15, pre-market analysis. Hopefully we'll have a couple of stocks on the gap scanners that look maybe a little bit better than what we had this morning. But, we worked with what we had and came out green. So, green is good. All right, everyone, I'll see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.